Welcome back. Now we're going to make our spreadsheet pretty. So if you look on page 24, the first thing we're going to do is change the cell style. Now for me, I have a big wide section here. It doesn't actually have the cell style button. That's because of how I have my text set up on my computer itself. So you might have a button that specifically says cell styles that opens up to this, or you might have what I have right here where it says styles, and you can click on the more button. Now it wants us to, in A1, make sure you're in cell A1, wants us to change that to a title. Now notice something cool. As we slide over stuff, notice how A1 is changing. So it shows you what it's going to look like before you actually do that. That's kind of nice. So in this case, we're clicking on title. Then we want to click on, we're going to change the font for this. So we're going to click in A2, which is our monthly estimates. And we're going to change the font. So come up to the font, just like in Word, and we are going to change that to Cambria. And since it's not right here, for me, I like to type C-A-M, and it should pop me right down to it, which makes it a little faster. I don't know. Could be all in my head. And then it wants us to click on cell A1 and change that to bold. This is all stuff you know how to do already. And they also want us to change cell A2 to bold. And then with A2 still selected, we are going to go to the font size and change it to a 14. So size, and slide down to 14. And then turn the page. On page 28, it says to click in A1 again. And we're going to change the font color. So click on the down arrow by the red A, and we're going to change it to blue accent 1. So remember, if you slide over these, it'll give you the names, blue accent 1. And then you also want to change that same color for A2. So click in A2, and once again. Now notice that my blue accent 1 is still sitting here on my A. So really all I have to do is just click on that, and it's the same color. So they'll save you at least a step. Then on page 29, it says to click in A1, and we're going to click and drag all the way to N. So hold down with your left mouse button, and notice, look, the color of my mouse. See, it's the white plus sign. Remember, copy is plus, the black plus sign. Here's our white plus sign. So click with our left mouse button and then drag all the way across the table. And I do take points off if your title is not merged and centered over the entire table. I take points off. So before you upload this on your assignment link, make sure that the title is merged and centered over the entire table. In this case, the table goes from column A to column N, but make sure you check when you're done that it is still that way. So we're going to click on the merge and center button, which is up here in the alignment section of our home tab. Merge and center. If you click on merge and center, it automatically merges and centers the whole thing. Now something that is cool, you can click on the down arrow, and honestly I never use this, but it's there. You can choose merge across, which leaves it left aligned, but it merges it all into one cell. Merge cells and unmerge cells. So those are also options for you. But now notice that all we have is A1. If we don't have a J1 and N1, now over here we do have an O1. Okay, so click here, see, it's still A1. Now That is cool. That's something I need to tell you. Don't do this. I'm going to show you what happens. This is a mistake a lot of people make, because we need to merge and center row 1 and row 2, right? So sometimes people think, oh, well, I'll just do it all at once, you know, because I like doing shortcuts, right? This is what happens if you do it all at once. Don't do this, because you're going to make a mess, all right? If you merge and center 2 rows at one time, what happens is you get an error message, and then most people just say okay, and then oh my goodness, it erased one of my lines. Okay, so you cannot merge and center 2 rows at one time unless you want to erase the bottom row. Alright, I'm going to hit undo and undo again and undo again. Oh nope, it's not going to take me back to my merge and center. Okay, so merge and center 1 row at a time. So from A to N is merged and center. And then we're going to merge and center A2 to N2 also. Merge and center. Alright, so they have to be done separately. Now, turn the page, and on page 30, number 1 at the bottom, format cells using cell styles. So, in this case, we're going to select row 3. Now, in this case, you cannot select row 3 like this. It is cool that you can select an entire row like this, but if you're applying color or lines or anything else to the entire row, it's going to go on forever. See everything I've got highlighted here? And it'll go on to double X, triple X, I mean forever. So if you're formatting in colors or lines or anything like that, you cannot select the whole row. You have to select the specific cells. So in this case, they want us to format A3 through N3. So select A3 through N3. And they want us to choose the cell style heading 1. So come to the More button and then choose heading 1. Alright, now notice how some of them spill over. That personally drives me crazy. So I'm going to do something now that you might want to save to later, but I'm doing it now. In between the A and the 1, I showed you this in the earlier recording. If you click in that spot in between the A and the 1, now if you come in between the A and the B and double click 2 times fast, notice it automatically resized everything so we can see all of our text. Okay, for me it drives me crazy when I can't see everything, and for you I will count it points off, not wrong, but points off if I can't see stuff. Now if I can't see answers to formulas, that will be counted wrong. Okay, so select from A8 to N8, click on the More button and choose heading 1. Okay, now they're all the right size because we just formatted the one above to make it wide enough. On page 32, number 4 says that they want us to format these 2 ranges with the total cell style format. Now, an easy way to select 2 ranges is to select, and in this case we're going to select A6 to N6. Now you can select ranges that don't connect each other by holding the Control button on your keyboard. So hold the Control button down and then select A17 to N17. And those are the 2 ranges that are supposed to have the total style format. So click on the More button and choose Total. Notice that the total bolded the font and did a single line above and a double line underneath. Alright, and then it tells us to format A19 through N19. So let's highlight A19 through N19 with the accent 1 cell style format. So click here on your More button and you want the accent 1 cell style format. Alrighty then. Now we want to format several different ranges. So if you look at the third bullet, we're going to select A4 to N4. Hold the control button down and select A9 to N9. Select, our control button is still down, A11 to N11, so it's every other row. Okay, control button is still down, and then select entertainment. There we go. So A13 to N13 and A15 to N15. Okay, and they want the 20% accent 1 cell style format. So more button, 20% accent 1 cell style, 20% accent 1. Always double check, always double check. And then it wants us to select the rest of them in a different cell style. So the same thing, select A5 through N5, hold the control down, and select A10 through N10. Control is still down. A12 through N12. A14, control is still down through N14, and then A16 through N16. And this is supposed to be formatted with the 40% accent 1 cell style. So 40% accent 1 cell style. There you go. So that's looking a little bit better. Then we're going to format the numbers on the spreadsheet. So number 1 at the bottom of page 32 says to select B4 through N4. So B4 through N4. And choose the accounting format. So you notice you have your numbers here. And when you click straight on the $ up here in the number section, that is the accounting format. That is the format that accountants like best. It is also called the fixed $ because notice how the $ always stays clear to the left. Sometimes it's further, sometimes it's closer. It just depends on the width of the cell. So once again, don't do this to yours, okay? But notice how, see how close that $ is on the 1000 here? If I make column B bigger, notice that $ stays there. So the accounting format is also called the fixed $. Alright, just know that sometimes the book uses both. Alright. The next one then is it wants us to select B5 through N5. Now accountants, you always do the first row as an accounting format, and then the second row is going to be a plain comma style. So in the number section, click on the comma style. Okay, now the comma style is also awesome if you're formatting things and it has just become a big mess. Oops, I missed one. It has become a big mess. The comma style is how you can get it back to something recognizable, and then you can work from there. Okay, so if you have a big mess, you can't figure out what to do, the comma style is your friend. Okay, now it says number 2 on page 33, the second bullet, says to select B6 through N6. So we're going to go all the way across here, and they want us to choose the accounting number format again. So the first row and the last row for an accountant always has the $ on there, the fixed $. So you can just guess, right? The first row of our expenses, and you can actually hold down your control key now and select the last row of our expenses. Both of those are going to have the fixed dollar sign or the accounting format. So click here, and it's thinking. There we go. I had to click again. Sometimes weird things happen. Now the rest of our numbers, which will be B10 through, notice you're going to go all the way down to N16 and double check. You can see the columns B through N are selected up at the top, and notice that the rows 10 through 16 show that they are selected also. So make sure that you only have B10 through N16 selected. And then let's choose our comma. Alright, and the comma format, this is what it does to the 0, so that's okay. Alright, most excellent. Now on page 34, it has us adjusting the column width, which we have already done, but we'll do it again because it's a good thing. Let's hit save before something strange happens. Click in between the A and the 1. Come in between the A and the B, and you get the bar with the double arrows. Double click, and it will auto fit the entire sheet. And life is great. Alright, now I am looking at my net on the book, and I see that it also is supposed to have the accounting format. So let's select B19 through N19 and click on the accounting format. Okay, there you go. It looks fabulous. Now on page 35, it says click in the name box in the formula. Click in the name box and type A3. So remember at the very beginning I told you a quick way to get to a specific cell is to click in the name box, type where you want to go, and hit enter, and it will take you straight to A3, which is our income cell. So yay! Alright, go ahead and save that, and according to page 37, it's time to take a break, so I'll see you back in a minute.